Will you call the roll again, please, Madam Clerk?
President Weatherston.
Still here.
Trustee McManus.
Here.
Trustee Wishaw.
Here.
Trustee Stillman.
Here.
Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Lambert.
Here.
And Trustee Pierce.
Here.
You
Thank
still
you.
here? Okay, approval of the minutes from Committee of the Whole, March 11th, 2025. Have a motion, please?
We'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Committee of the Whole, March 11th, 2025.
Thank you, Mike. Have a second.
Second.
Holly, any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Did Nancy vote? I didn't,
Yes,
sorry, I didn't hear.
said aye.
You said aye? Okay,
Yep.
great. Public comment. Again, we open the floor to 2 minutes opportunity for citizens to voice opinions to the Committee of the Whole. Committee of the Whole cannot speak or respond to the, as it may have conflict with open meeting requirements. You still see nobody moving. Plan Commission Committee updates. Planning Commission, Nancy, did you have anything to add?
I asked Pete if he would speak to it, since he sent me the list.
Yep, I can do that.
Is
Thank you, Nancy.
he there?
Yeah, thank you.
The next Plan Commission meeting is scheduled for March 31st, and the following items are up for review. Park and Open Space Plan review, a conditional use permit for 6208 Highway 31, requesting a conditional use to have a separate laborers' quarters, not for rent, on the property, which would be in addition to the existing home on the site. A boundary agreement review over in the Village of Raymond, a building site and operation plan for a proposed 53,000 square foot commercial building for a future Milwaukee Power Sports business. A preliminary subdivision plat for the Thomas Tree Farm, proposing 62 lot subdivision. A final subdivision plat review for Homestead Acres Phase 1, proposing 21 lots. And then lastly, there is a certified survey map submitted by Ms. Chech, reviewing a CSM proposing to subdivide a parcel on 3 Mile Road east of Newman Road into 3 lots.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Committee updates on Parks and Rec. Holly, do you have anything to add?
Nope, we haven't had a meeting, so I'll let you know next
All
week.
right, cool. Utility District, Mr. Wishaw.
I have nothing to report tonight.
Very good. Fran, do you have anything from the Racine County Visitors Bureau?
Yeah, the improvements to the building and its parking lot are continuing, and probably the building renovation will begin in May. The parking lot is in terrible shape, and that will be fixed.
Thank you, Fran. Moving on to new business, a resolution approving the receipt of a designated donation to the Village of Caledonia Fire Department for the sole source purchase request for the Lions Digital Fire Extinguisher Trainer. Did you want to speak to this, or we should just go ahead and approve getting the money?
Oh, I want to hear what this is.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I didn't know fire extinguishers needed training, but okay.
I'm on the other side of
We
the
do. It's
line.
actually a public education tool. We were approached by Gerald and Helen Corcoran, who wanted to make a donation to the fire department for any equipment type needs. We had proposed a couple of equipment needs to them. Of that, a public education piece of equipment, a digital fire extinguisher training kit. And this training kit is unique because it allows you to do indoor fire extinguisher training with smoke, lights, pull stations, fire alarms, and a 911 cell phone that records the Racine County dispatcher. It's the only type of fire extinguisher kit out there, trainer kit, that exists of this type. The others are gas props that you have to do outside, requires a fire apparatus, filling, extra personnel, and then the old school type is diesel and gasoline with a real extinguisher, which can be kind of messy. While proposing these pieces of equipment, Helen and Gerald selected this product that they would like to make a donation specifically for this piece of equipment in the sums of just under $26,000.
Thank you. Todd, this does not have to go to the board, right? This is the final approval here. Is that correct?
It's what?
It's on committee of the
No,
whole, but
it would still have to go to village board.
let's go to the board.
It's a resolution.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to move this to the board to approve this donation request.
Second.
we have a motion and a second.
I wasn't going to say it all.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It's so carried. Well, Chief, would you please let them know how grateful we are? Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Item B, site grading and drainage bond ordinance modification, section 15-121. Who has the,
I'll take that one.
all right, we'll let you.
This is the first revision attempt at chapters 51-121, specifically regarding the site grading and restoration bond. And I don't know how many people are familiar with that part. Most probably are, but the short version is they pay cash, typically on a residential house, $1,000. This ensures that they're going to restore their site when it comes to a point 270 days after they've been issued occupancy. So the current ordinance, I provided a bunch of red lines on there. We don't have anything in addition to enforce on commercial properties. It's just 1,000. But then when you look at these large, 10,000 square foot buildings on these huge developments, $1,000 is nothing in a, drop in the bucket when it comes to trying to enforce these grading concerns and trying to make sure that these people are willing to come back, grade the site appropriately, provide the necessary as-builts, and go from there. So this is looking to increase the fees for commercial properties and multifamily complex units. It's also looking to codify what we call the recertification survey, which is an as-built of the grades of the home, which is something that we write, it is something that we write in the building permit special conditions. It's not an actual code on here. That's in chapter 15. And then there's, to summarize, there's like 2 other points. There's one more adding some enforcement for Pete's zoning department, which would be when the building site and operation plan enforces and approves a landscape plan, we can use that commercial fee and tie in Pete's landscaping requirements to that, so that there's kind of a combination between planning and engineering. And then lastly, there's a little bit more clarification to what happens after a timeline of 540 days expires, which currently it just says if someone ignores us for 540 days, they can just get their money back. And there's language in here to help restrict that. So I can answer any questions or clarifications.
Yeah, are there any questions by board members?
Yeah, I do. Would this in any way apply to circumstances such as the one on 4 Mile, I think, and Erie, where they were going to put up that building and now it's just a pile of gravel and kind of falling in things? Would this have any effect on that? No, where there's an attempt, but where there's a beginning of construction and then it's just there and we're left with very untidy piles of rubble that look crappy.
At this point, this is held based on occupancy being issued, and that site never was even issued occupancy. So that money would still be held separately and potentially denied at that same time too with the building permit, or canceled with the building permit. We probably would reissue that back to them. It doesn't really refer to that. This is tied all to occupancy.
Okay, so there's nothing in there that would require them to at least level the area again after some certain time.
On this iteration, there is not.
Be nice if we could do that.
Yeah, I don't know how you.
In the ordinance, it says you gotta show us the money before
Right.
we give you a permit. And if you can't do what you said you're gonna do, you're gonna pay us something somehow, because this is ridiculous.
Or
The guy-
post a bond or
I mean,
something.
these
yeah.
bonds are posted with the
Or
permit
bonding.
application, so this comes in with the permit, but yes.
But we can't use it to compel them to, after some period of time, whatever it might be, 2 years or whatever, to regrade the property and return it to some more aesthetic
Not with
state.
the money, yeah, this money is specifically tied to that. That would have to maybe be pulled up in a different section of code.
So we can put that on committee of the whole as something else to talk about. In the meantime, we
Mhm.
can go ahead and approve the changes you've already made. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
If you would like to, I'd recommend it to the village board.
All right, so will somebody make a motion to do that?
I'll make a resolution to move to the village board, the site grading and drainage bond ordinance modification.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You got a fast tongue today.
Thank you. Resolution 2025 XXXXF for fiscal 2024 year-end budget modification. Wayne, did you have something to say?
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty clear in your explanation, but
yeah, it's basically just a cleanup of budget to actuals, just moving budget authority around to, so that we aren't looking like we've overspent anything in particular. I grouped the public safety expenses in one section, and then the general administration salaries in our personnel in another section, and then operating costs.
thank you, Wayne. Does anybody else have any questions of Wayne, or? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve it, to move to the board.
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-XXX, is that how we refer to it? F 2024 year-end budget modification.
Yeah, on the
Move it to
untitled
the board,
resolution.
Advance to the board.
Do we have do I have a second? Thank you, Dale. Fran and Dale, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? TID 5 update is next. Who wanted to fumble through this one?
Todd and I are going to
Todd and you?
are going to
Okay.
share. I'm going to be the
Sharing.
positive part of
So we're
TID
gonna tag
5.
team it, okay.
And then I'm giving Todd
be
the
the
negative
Who's got
aspect.
lead off bat? Who's first at bat?
So I'm going to take the first, the positive end, which is the 30 lot subdivision that was approved by Cornerstone. Right now, there are 8 homes that are in the subdivision. 1 is occupied, and the remaining 7 are either under final construction or up for sale. So that is on par with what Veridian was telling the village and village staff regarding the progress of that subdivision. When Cornerstone came forward, they were hoping to build 5 houses a year once the final plat was approved. Veridian took over the subdivision development, and they were more ambitious, and they were on the pace to do 10 homes per year. And right now they're at 8. And so they hope to be able to get that 10 by the end of this year. And then next year they'll start keep rolling as the buildings become complete. So that is moving along as been approved and planned. And then the other part of that subdivision is the 3-acre park that we called Water's Edge Park. The trail is in. That is the most we're going to develop that park. So that has been complete as well as part of that end of TID 5. And now I'll turn it over to Todd to talk about Cardinal Capital and how that is progressing.
So village staff has had numerous meetings over the past couple of months since I've been here with Cardinal Capital based on the Water's Edge plan and just looking at various alternatives. And while they've been struggling to come up with financing for the condo plat itself, as the way financing for condos is a little different than your single family home subdivisions and your apartment buildings. So in our last meeting, we met with their leadership and we asked them to come back with a plan for how they're actually going to finance and get the project done. And I think we were going to come up with as creative ideas as we could that would allow us to get that project done. And that's kind of where it stands, right now. And so we are still collecting the interest payments on the loan. And then we are, waiting for another payment. But once those payments arrive, we will look at whatever plan they supply to us, would more than likely change whatever kind of agreement we may have had in place prior to that. And we would, bring that back to you guys and keep you apprised to what the changes would be.
So do you think that they're still hoping that we'll agree to their building them as rental properties? That's my guess.
I don't know that rental properties, I think when we met with them, that was met with resistance even from a staff level.
Good.
I wasn't here when you guys had
Mhm.
the initial iteration where it was the apartment buildings.
Never, it was
No,
condos,
no,
or
condos.
never
Or
apartments.
condo buildings that
Never
look
never
like,
rental.
yes, I understand. So, yes, the condo buildings are the 3
right? Towers. yeah.
towers, so to speak. So, no, any mention of rentals was kind of met with a level of resistance or a level for them to understand that that's not the intention of what the board was looking for.
So I would like to add to what Todd said, that Mr. Leffler has expressed an interest in taking the project, but it's a different project in his mind. So with your permission, I think Todd and I can sit down with Ray and see what he really means by that. I'm not sure Ray knows how much money we've got into it already. So if you guys don't mind, the two of us will sit down with Ray and see what, he has in mind, so we have something in our hip pocket. Guys, any problem with that?
Well, when's Cardinal gonna come back to us? What's the time frame?
It actually was last Friday. So, I mean, now,
I don't know how you
to-
move a project forward when you don't give them a deadline.
well, right, the project was, or the deadline for
It was
kind
last
of a
Friday.
review
It was
of,
last Friday.
was last Friday, but now,
Okay,
to be fair, that was probably less than 2 weeks. I think it was a 2-week time frame because we had expressed that this item was coming up on this agenda per your request, trustee Wishaw. So we wanted to be able to bring something to you, and then we had that meeting. They had asked, they said they were going to get something to us last Friday. We kind of kept it up in the air until yesterday, as we were supposed to have a meeting, I believe, today on the project. And when we didn't receive anything, we canceled that meeting and then just said we would go forward with a conversation about our limited discussions and what we've tasked them to come back with.
I mean, they've been trying to get financing for 5 years. It's difficult for me to understand what new ideas they're going to have about financing that they haven't already thought about.
I mean, we'll leave that up to them. I mean, they're kind of the developer. I mean, and they're the one that has to go out to market to find the financing. Now, I'm not going to, we're not going to go out to the market and see kind of what kind of
Yeah,
financing we can
yeah.
get. So that's why we hire developers, or we sign agreements with developers, is for them to find the money.
Yeah, I'm just expressing my dubiousness after this time.
So is there any objection to talking to Mr. Leffler?
I don't object. I wouldn't limit it to him though.
Well, I know, it's
Yeah.
just the opening salvo, kind of see what,
Don't think it would hurt myself.
okay. All right. I'll set that up or Todd can set it up. We'll see where that goes. It may not go anywhere, for all I know. But I think we should have another avenue, just in case.
We've got a lot of projects going on right now,
Yeah.
but we don't wanna just.
Well, and Ray might not know how much money we already have into it, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fran, I can see you thinking.
No, what I'm thinking of is that if we talk to him, I think we need to open it up, as
Oh,
he
sure.
suggested
Yeah.
to whoever, so we're not doing a
I agree.
handshake kind of a deal.
I agree.
If I could interrupt, before we go down that path too far, we do have a development agreement with Cardinal at this time. So we certainly need to act in accordance with that development agreement.
I understand it, Elaine, but they're the ones breaking it, not us.
And I understand. So I think we'll have more of an update after this month passes to know
Okay.
financially where they stand in terms of the interest payments and then what the next steps are. And the meeting that we were going to have today was a staff level meeting to review what we had that we had hoped to receive from them by this past Friday. So I'm sure we will be following up with them on where is your submittal? What are your plans? What is the financing remedy that they had talked about accomplishing in terms of their overall financial situation at Cardinal. So we were hoping to get a lot of information on Friday and it didn't come in. So we will follow up and I think we'll have more of an update for the board probably in April.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Review of ordinance, chapter 6, regulating licensing of fireworks. I think we have a consensus to allow sale, but not use, I think.
I mean, you guys, I
Straw
would say
poll
you guys
vote.
should have a conversation, and then,
Okay.
what you would do is have a vote to direct staff to review and update the ordinance per the guidance of the village board.
Okay, so,
Tom?
yes, ma'am.
I spoke, a gentleman who sells fireworks, but not the one who made the initial request, called me yesterday and told me that Muskego has a fireworks ordinance, which is not as elaborate, I guess I would say, as Raymond's. So I looked at that They do issue permits. They allow it for about 3 or 4 days surrounding July 4th, and that's all. They have one public area, I think, where people can set them off. They have 2 classes, I believe, of fireworks. One are the big fancy ones, that some of my neighbors set off anyway.
Oh, okay.
And then some are they're described in their ordinance
This
anyway.
neighbor?
Yeah, I was gonna say, which one are we?
This neighbor here?
This one?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
It's not the one. No. And what that gentleman told me was that their police chief and their fire chief like it because they know who has the permits. So if they get complaints, they know where it is that those people are, as opposed to simply getting complaints that somebody around here is setting off fireworks. Hang on, Holly.
No, I know.
Hang on. I called the Muskego City Hall and asked them if there was someone there that could give me some sense of how, in fact, it works. And so I went from, one phone thing to another, but then their city attorney called me and said that it works reasonably well, that he moved there from West Allis, where it was strictly forbidden, and then he moved to Muskego, where he said they love their fireworks. They'd set them off anyway, and they didn't used to have an ordinance. So now they have an ordinance, at least, that the people, instead of people just breaking the law all over the place, they have some control over it. And he said that it works reasonably well. He also said he's happy to speak with anyone who wants to discuss it. I mentioned that you might want to speak with him. Elaine, I mentioned that you might want to speak with him. So I have his name, and he said he's very happy to talk about it. It's not a perfect situation, but he thought that it was better to have some kind of control when people are going to do it anyway.
Yep.
And that my sense is, because I have about 180-degree view on the 4th of July, the 3rd of July, the 4th of July, and the 5th of July from my deck of all of the fireworks that get set off. And I know they're not municipal because I know when those dates are. So I don't know who it is, but we have some pretty elaborate fireworks people. And it also, I don't know to what degree it's a revenue source, but he told me that somebody pays $10,000 for a permit, and there you under their ordinance you can have a certified or a license or whatever it is firework setter offer, and so that they can do it, or just individuals
Okay.
or groups.
We
So
do have
I guess I'm in favor since
We
I
do
mean, my
have,
sense is
we
people
do have
do
a
it anyway.
professional.
That's a completely separate
Professional, yeah.
Pardon?
permit.
We
We
have
do
a
have a
professional
permit like
permit.
that. It's separate from this, what we were talking.
I thought we didn't allow.
The fireworks display permit, that's a separate permit. That's for, certain organizations are able to take that permit out to do a professional display.
This is for individuals also.
Yeah, we don't allow it for individuals.
Right,
So-
but they do. And I know that we have individuals, in fact, who do it. I'm just saying, I think it's better to have something so we have some control. So, and I just spoke with him today. I forwarded his, I talked to him when Todd called me about the dog thing. I mentioned this because I just got off the phone with him. And so I forwarded the Muskego ordinance to Todd, and I think you sent it to Elaine. And as I say, their city attorney said he's happy to discuss it with anyone,
Thank you, Fran.
pros and cons.
Thank you. Holly, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I talked to the same gentleman, and today actually for about almost 25 minutes. I think I'm okay with. I am okay. I will say this. I am okay with the selling of fireworks. I think that our possession, saying that you can't possess them, I think is a little bit overbearing. I just think you shouldn't be able to light them off. If you're transporting them, you're technically in possession of them. If you're buying them to go take them somewhere else. So I think that you should be able to possess them for the purposes of purchasing them. I think permits would get a little bit tedious. I think Muskego is a little bit, because the gentleman mentioned Muskego. I think Muskego's setup is a little bit different than our landscape, especially given our farms and things like that. And I also have a lot of experience with people that may think that they know how to set off fireworks and they don't. And I have 2 acres that I wouldn't want to see go up in flames because my neighbors think that they could light off fireworks. So I'm for allowing the sale at a private tent, similar to what I think it was Jacob is his name applied for, what this Dustin would like to apply for, to sell them, for people to buy them in our village, but to take them elsewhere and light them off, because that's my opinion. So that's how I feel about it.
Gentlemen,
Dale
one of you
speaking.
guys got something to add?
I agree 100% with Holly. I don't think we should be able to allow any just Joe Blow to launch them in Caledonia, because they shoot them all over the place and they don't even know what the heck they're doing half the time. I would prefer to not even issue permits for people that just individuals who shoot fireworks.
Mike's not on?
His light is green.
Or maybe you just not talking about
You want me to talk louder?
Yeah,
There you
got
go.
it. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
How about the two chiefs? Do you have comment? Sean, do you have anything?
I think a use permit wouldn't be a good idea. As with any ordinance or any law, we would have to enforce it, and that would require a tremendous amount of resources. So people would get permits, some law-abiding citizens would get some permits, and if we didn't enforce it, then the next year, like, well, I'm not buying the permit because they didn't even enforce it. Or they'd say, my neighbor down there didn't get a permit, are you gonna go arrest him? And so I think it would be a mess. We would have to have everybody on board for several days around the 4th just to enforce that use permit. Otherwise, no one's gonna follow it, no one's gonna purchase it. We only had like a dozen fireworks complaints last July 4th. People light them off. We do get a few complaints, but it's usually like the whole subdivisions that are lighting them off. So it's hard to isolate when a firework complaint comes in who's actually doing it.
Wait,
I would just add that there's no, since 2009, we've had 5 fires related to fireworks. Most of them dumpsters, fields. One property damage resulted in about $21,000 worth of property. And other than that, I'm looking for a search for any type of fireworks injuries. And going back to 2021, there's about 12,000 reports to go through. It's a narrative search. It's been going on for the last couple hours, and so far it hasn't hit anything, so nothing significant in that area.
Thank you. Any other comments? So we've muddled this up. Now we don't know what staff's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So what's the consensus?
Todd has it.
So just to frame this up a little bit for you, and I know we put some materials in your packets. Historically, the village has had a policy where they don't want individuals doing fireworks displays, and that's what Jen has indicated your ordinance doesn't allow. So it allows entities, basically nonprofits, to get a firework type permit to have a display. And the sale that was happening or supposed to be happening at the tents that are set up were more for novelties, not for the big fireworks that they sell out at the Eye, at the 2 stores at the Eye, but more things that don't leave the ground like entirely. They can be fountains and things of that nature. So whatever ordinance though that you have in place, it has to comply with the statute. You can be more restrictive with the statute, but you cannot be less restrictive. So if you want to allow the sale of fireworks, you have to decide, do you want something more than novelties, or do you want them to be able to buy the big stuff? And then secondly, if you want to allow individuals to use or possess them within your boundaries, and I'm not talking just about transporting, like if they happen to go through your jurisdiction because they bought it someplace else, but actually buy them and use them, you need to institute a permit process for that. And so they're interrelated. So it does get complicated. So you can't say to somebody, well, you can buy them here, but you can't use them here. So you have to, if you're going to open the door to it, then you should do a permitting process to regulate it. Will individuals follow the rules? Some will. The rule followers will follow them, but the people that don't follow the rules won't. And then it'll become an enforcement issue. So if you want to allow them, we just need to know, do you want to allow the big stuff, or do you want to keep it restricted to the novelties like you're supposed to have it now? And then do you want to have a permit process, or do you, if you're going to allow them and allow them to be sold, you should have a permit process to address it.
What is the
Wait.
current fee for our fireworks permit for
For
organizations?
sale,
Yeah.
I think it's 50.
And then what about for the use?
The display, I think is
Display.
like 200.
But they have to provide insurance, right? Or to
Right.
show that, like, people that actually do like a display have to go through steps to show that it's
Let me pull it up.
a legitimate person firing them off.
They have to have insurance.
I think under Muskego, if I understood what their city attorney said, I think anyone who gets a permit, individual or group, has to provide proof of insurance. And I believe the other restriction is that it had to be a homeowner. I mean, you had to own the property. You couldn't be a rental. And
So where's the
setting them
point
up.
of sale for the permit? At the store where you buy the stuff? That-
Yeah.
Okay. So Todd, do you have enough from us to put together a draft or
I don't
staff
think so.
draft or?
It's-
Elaine's laughing at me, but.
Well,
Yeah.
are we interested in just doing the novelty or are we interested
Oh,
in?
big stuff.
Okay, big stuff. So
But
then
then-
I think with that, we're gonna have to look at or explore along with the chiefs, what does that,
What does that
what,
mean?
what does that permit or use permit process look like? But also, what is that going to do from a staffing level? What is the ultimate cost that we're
Okay.
gonna be
All right.
willing to potentially look at, as we decide if we're willing to do this? I mean, certainly staff can put something together and we can propose something, and it does not mean that you have to approve it. It just, we can provide you the framework
Yeah.
or the guideline, and we craft it from that
Well,
point
no
on.
sticks of dynamite, that kind of thing. Holly, you wanted to add something?
So are we gonna expect these tents that we're approving to be issuing these permits as well? So they're gonna have to do the checks that these people have insurance and, you know
No,
what I
they-
mean?
The permits are issued by their clerk, I believe.
But he said that, or she made it, I'm just trying to clarify that if we do it at the point of sale, then we would require these tents.
So
They do in Raymond.
I get what you're saying, and I would say you're potentially adding another extra level or step in the process, which means Jen is going to have to issue the permit. The vendor or the tent would not be able to sell any of those larger fireworks without a permit, which Jen would be issuing the permit, reviewing the certificate of insurance, reviewing address, all of those things.
I guess what I would say is, to me, the most useful thing would be to talk to their city attorney and ask them in practicality how it works. Who issues a permit? Who collects the fee? How do they get the proof of insurance? All that.
I
just seems
I'm
pragmatic.
I'm happy to have a conversation with their attorney, and there's going to be a difference between an actual physical brick and mortar store, which would have the ability for point of sale, could log into a system, print out the permit, reconcile all of that with village staff and the police department and stuff like that, versus an actual, like a tent distributor.
So
in that.
clarification,
Maybe what we
Elaine,
ought to do is just read the tea leaves and see what the board wants to do, because otherwise I'm afraid we're going to put through
well,
a
Elaine, let
whole
me
lot of work.
clarify
And then it's
something.
going to end up that that the majority of the board is against it. So why don't we just do a kind of a reading of the tea leaves here? Just say what do you, I mean, I'm in favor of it. It might be my libertarian streak,
Elaine,
I
just
don't
to
think governments ought
clarify,
to be, you don't
so-
like it, but I do. I don't think we ought to have unnecessary rules. That's my view.
So state law would require us, if we allow the sale of the big boom fireworks at these tents, state law would require us to allow people to use them in our jurisdiction?
You can't issue a permit
You can't
to
sell.
just buy without use in your jurisdiction. So you can't say, you can buy them here, but you got to take them elsewhere. That's not allowed by state statute. So, and the statute is pretty clear that says no person may possess or use fireworks without a user permit from the village. It actually has the president of the village. But yeah, so it talks about requiring a permit for use and possession.
Okay, well, Mike, you do have an opinion? You haven't said a word.
Well, I was thinking more running towards novelty, because right now.
You
it's
were the
very-
novelty guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Wishaw?
I must admit, I don't have a strong opinion either way. I'm willing to just,
You're willing
good
to?
stuff are blowing up all around me on the 4th of July.
Yeah,
know.
okay.
It's
That's
never
what
been a
my view is.
problem. I look the other way, who cares,
Where are you at, Holly?
I'm torn because I don't think we should be prohibiting these vendors from selling these bigger fireworks, because that's usually my stance, is to let businesses sell their business. But I'm not a firework fan. I've seen what they do. I guess that's my day job side of me cutting in here. So I'm not really sure. I think if we could come up with something that's not too convoluted, that would fit, I think I would be okay with it. I mean, we could always, I hate to do that. We don't know until we try it, I guess. It kind of how I feel.
Dale, how do you feel?
Let me get to my microphone so you can hear me. Can you hear me?
You can say no.
I kind of agree with Holly here because I think it's just gonna be a burden on our village staff to try to sell these permits and collect money. And they have to take the permits and insurance papers to the guy that wants to sell them. I don't have a problem with them selling them. I just don't want people using them in the village. They're a nuisance.
Well, so are motorcycles, but you know.
Whoa, whoa.
Oh, boy.
It's
Step on my Harley.
It's not going that big.
Francis, did you have something else you wanted to add? Did you have something to say?
No, I don't. I've said what I have to say, which is I think we ought to allow them. People set them off anyway, and to me, if we have some kind of control over it, it's preferable than having them just go off randomly.
Thank you. Norgie, is Nancy still online? Does she have a comment?
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay. I don't have a problem with selling the big ones in the village, but I know that means that we have to then be prepared to handle them in the village. So, whatever the majority is gonna think on this one, I think is the way we should go between the novelty and expansion. It's kind of the one or the other.
Okay.
What is the expansion? If we go to the heavier fireworks, does that that doesn't increase any income to the village, does it?
I mean, we could make it.
It could potentially create permit revenue, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
but it
not
also
looking
may
at- yeah, I
create
don't think we're looking at that.
staffing, expenses.
Right.
I have one more comment.
Is Nancy done?
So I don't have a good answer for you.
All right. Mr. Wishaw?
All things being equal, I think I'd take our police recommendation. Let's not create something here we can't possibly enforce. I'd hate to be in their position where, like you said, somebody down the block is doing it, why don't you bust them? I don't think we want to get involved in that.
Me either.
Myself, I'm for it. I kind of agree with Fran. Let's just let it happen on the 4th of July. It's not a big deal. I don't think it's a big nuisance. I put up with it. Our dogs don't like it. So what? One day out of the year, it's not a problem to me.
And you can't hear anyways.
I couldn't blow the belt.
But that still doesn't allow us, these businesses that are applying for the permit to sell them, I guess is the problem. And that's what brought us here to begin with, was we
Right.
approved this tent last time, and now we're still telling them, well, you can sell it at the sparklers.
I think whether
Right.
we sell them or not isn't gonna make much difference, because they can just go right across the interstate and get them anyway, and they're
Yeah,
blowing
yeah.
them up here. So to me, it's not a big deal. And if it was happening 365 days out of the year, it'd be a problem. But it's 1 or 2 days out of the year, and maybe on New Year's Eve, there's a few more. I let it go.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other, so I'm not gonna help you on this.
My feeling was just, it's a small business, and if we can help them, I'm happy to do that.
So Todd,
I did want to answer some questions that Trustee Lambert asked me earlier about the display. It's only 150, not 200.
Okay.
They do also have to provide a bond. And then they have to show that they are an authorized organization, so a public authority, fair association, amusement park, park board, civic organization, or an agricultural producer for the protection of crops from predatory birds or animals. So they can do it to scare.
Wow.
So
scare away
it
birds.
seems like that needs a little
Yeah.
reworking there.
All right.
That seems a little,
I would agree.
Maybe we should have a big display in the village and in Crawford Park, and that would, and then everybody would be happy, and we'd have local fireworks.
So that's clear as mud, huh?
Yeah.
so do we,
Right.
so
That's what I
for
mean.
novelty use, is it permissible for novelty use? We could, if, right now, if it isn't, we could just say novelty use is okay and then just leave the rest ambiguous.
That is permissible.
That is that's what we
That is
have.
permitted, okay.
But
so it
that's
is
not what the businesses are asking. The businesses are asking for us to
for
allow the
larger-
big boomers.
yeah.
Right.
And we're trying to,
And we can't let them sell them without saying they can use them. That's our find, right?
that's a
that was
I-
very
I
clear
guess-
instruction to you,
thank-
wasn't it, Todd?
So,
Thank you
so who,
for the help.
So how about Todd, if I may suggest you do some kind of a draft that wrapped around what you think we said, and then we'll beat that up, okay?
Well, I'll make a draft with Elaine and some input from staff based on the statute.
Okay.
And then
That'd be good.
we'll go there and then
All
look
right.
at potential cost estimates or what we would anticipate to be conservative cost estimates and see how that works out.
All right, thank you, Todd.
I just want to mention one other thing to keep in mind is we have 1 or 2 tents
Yeah.
locating, right? So this is a retail operation. It's going to be permitted by your retail commercial district. So the concern of wanting to help a small business owner, once you open the door, you open the door, and you're not going to be able to tell somebody no when they come forward with their retail operation to sell fireworks. So you will get other large operations coming in selling big fireworks. And so they're not going to just be small businesses wanting to do that. Just so that you know, because once you open the door, you're not going to be able to close it once those businesses come in.
So any place that's zoned for, what would the zoning be for?
The
sale of
commercial
fireworks?
operation, it's a
Commercial?
retail commercial operation.
Okay.
Pete's shaking
Any-
his head.
anything-
So,
Any commercial?
yep, I understand the desire to help a small business out,
Yeah.
but it's a broader implication from a location of a
Mhm.
for-profit entity that sells large fireworks.
I'm sure, and it might very well be that the person who called me had exactly that. I mean, I get that.
And we'll bring this back to you guys the second meeting in April. That gives us enough time to at least
All right,
get something in front of you guys.
Do you want to make a motion to direct staff?
pardon me?
You can't-
No.
Sorry.
She's with the fireworks.
Yeah.
Right, I don't think that would be possible through zoning, because if we did that, it would be opened up through zoning, so then at that point, it's really, the use fits the zoning and we wouldn't have any,
Say.
real reason to say no to anything like that.
Pete, what
Do we-
zone, which zoning which
Commercial.
category would it be?
B1, B2, B3.
Oof.
Zoning districts, so pretty much anywhere along the Douglas corridor, areas in Franksville. Other commercial areas is, I can think off the top of my head, would be 7.5 Mile Road in County V, 7 Mile in the interstate. Anything, those would be the major
Thank you.
areas where our commercial zoning is located.
Make a motion.
Uh,
for
Yeah.
direct draft.
But yeah, those would be the areas. We
into
do
it
allow
and
some
pertaining to
retail
the
in our M1 districts. Usually that, if I remember correctly, at the top of my head, it's gas stations and fueling stations and restaurants
I'll
are the
wait it.
two. So if you, gas station is pretty much a commercial endeavor, like a quick trip that, I don't know how we could say no to that. So that would open it up to our M1 district. Good news about M1 district, I just did inventory. We only have 3 properties that are zoned M1. So that's good. It wouldn't open it up too much there. But yeah, it would open it up to everything in our commercial district. So Milligers could sell all types of fireworks. And we would not be able to say no to that.
Whatever we do, no launching fireworks at the site of sale.
Especially if it's a gas station.
So I'll make a motion to direct staff to work on a model resolution for the sale of fireworks in the village. Is that,
I'm going to reword that a little.
Can she wordsmith that a little bit?
yeah, direct staff to work on or draft an ordinance or modify the ordinance to allow for the sale of larger explosive fireworks in the village and how that would, the framework for the permits. That sound good?
Good enough to-
Okay.
Miss Bass, you got that?
And you got a second from
We have a
Dale.
motion, a second. Any discussion on that motion? No, we beat it to death already. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, suggest items we placed on the next agenda meeting. I think we had one. We've discovered
Yeah,
one.
we've kind of brought one up. How can we
Blight
stop
property,
people
or-
with blighted property? They start a project and they won't
Mhm.
finish it. They get one in Erie and 4 Mile there, the restaurant. That's got all the rebar sticking up in the air and the
Right.
concrete footings, but that's the end of that.
Okay, so you want to discuss blighted property?
Well, not
No.
blighted property,
No.
but
Construction
blighted
projects that
property.
Make it a little bit
Construction-
more,
Incom-
I don't know how to say it.
Paused construction project.
Incompleted or,
Incompleted construction projects.
yeah.
And then we got like the bank on, over on Douglas, that thing's been sitting there a couple of years now, just kind of neglected, just for an example. Cause that's been empty for a couple of years now and it's just sitting there. Kmart building, I mean, that comes up every day. What are we gonna do with that building and what can we do with
He's still
okay,
paying taxes.
so, you
I-
wanna
I
have
know,
a
but it's-
discussion on repercussions of not finishing a project?
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great to me. As long as
Or
everybody
Ryan, if you have a better,
Half-finished
summarization for me.
Construction project.
It's not
The
blighted.
It is
No, I
not
didn't mean
blighted.
blighted, I
Blighted
meant,
means blighted, like Silverman and the guy on 31 by the cemetery. Those are blighted. We have Silverman.
we mean like
property.
somewhat finished.
It's a failure to complete a proposed construction within some fixed period of time.
Okay,
And we don't have that fixed period of
Yeah,
time.
that's right. That's a
Right.
good one. You should have said it before.
okay,
All right, so I would like to add an item too. I would like us to review as a board the policy of calling into meetings or zooming into meetings. I think it got abused in the planning commission, last planning commission. But I think we should, as a board, review that. That ordinance, we actually couldn't find the last revision, so I think we should have a good look at it.
Yeah, we talked about it during COVID
Yeah.
because we did it during
And
COVID.
we undid it.
Right?
But then we did it again, because I've done it.
So I think we should talk about that,
Yeah,
okay?
Review it.
yeah.
To
that's
review it.
good.
Anything else? Anybody else have anything?
Can we talk about vicious dogs again?
Dogs, no,
Do
we're
you
not
mean
gonna talk about dogs
viscous
again. Anything else? Seeing nothing, we will, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nancy.
All right.